If you watch him on the phone and some Nani, I am come to the set. Yamani, I was in the class. I am coming on the one not to make a money move. And I saw what train to go. Now, what do you want to try to do? Yeah. I didn't see my justice on Saturday. If you had the area, get it. But she had the matter to a library. I know that mama did me way. Everybody said, yeah,
Well, that was Minister Seth, and they call that one "The Lord Is a Rock for Me." I mean, he sang a lot of songs, and you may want to check that out. But this is still Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nee Trebi Hammond. Now, time for Business Brief. I'm going to share with you something on office romance, or workplace romance, as people call it, and you don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Well, of course, welcome to Business Brief this morning here on the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nee Trebi Hammond. Now, this morning, I'm talking to you about workplace romance. And I have a tagline that I put together, and I said that when love costs careers. Now, of course, we're going to get into the month of love from tomorrow. And it's very important that we talk about some of these things. But let me start from here. Let's be real. Workplace romance happens. People spend long hours together, share common goals, and sometimes, of course, feelings develop. But while it might seem exciting at first, the reality is that office relationships can come with serious consequences, whether we like it or not. And I'm not just talking about awkward breakups. No. I mean losing your job, damaging your reputation, and even facing legal trouble. Now, take Steve Easterbrook, the former CEO of McDonald's. In 2019, he was fired after the company found out he was in a relationship with an employee. Now, the relationship was consensual, but McDonald's had a strict policy against executives dating subordinates. Why? Because it can create favoritism, conflict of interest, and power imbalance. But here's where it gets worse. After being fired, McDonald's later sued him when they found out he had multiple relationships with employees and had even given company stock to one of them. So he didn't just lose his job, he lost millions of dollars in stock and completely destroyed his reputation. And he's not the only one. Jeff Zucker, the former president of CNN, he had to resign in 2022 because he was in a relationship with a colleague. And he failed to disclose it. Again, the relationship was consensual. But the fact that it was kept a secret made it a violation of company policy. Just like that, his career at CNN was over. There are other big names who lost their jobs because of workplace relationships. One of them is Brian Dunn. He was the CEO of Best Buy. He resigned after an inappropriate relationship with an employee. Also, Darren Houston, he was a Priceline CEO. He was forced to step down for the same reason. Mark Weissman, BlackRock executive. He also left his company in 2019 over a workplace romance violation. So what's the real issue here? It is not just about two people being in a relationship, but it's about power dynamics, the conflict of interest, and potential legal risk that come with it. And here's why office romances can be dangerous, can be a very dangerous territory to go into. Number one, conflicts of interest. If your partner is your boss or has any influence over your job, it can lead to bias in promotions, salaries, and job assignments. And of course, colleagues will start feeling unfair, and workplace morale will eventually drop. Also, there is loss of professionalism because personal drama can easily spill into the workplace. So a simple disagreement at home can turn into awkwardness at work, and that can make things uncomfortable for everyone. And that is why workplace romances is a dangerous territory. Also, legal and ethical issues. Of course, if the relationship ends badly, it can quickly turn into a harassment claim. And companies don't want to deal with that risk. So they prefer to shut it down before it even begins. Another thing is that it can damage reputation. People talk. So whether you like it or not, office gossip is real. And your relationship can easily become a distraction. Or worse, it can affect how seriously people take you. Also, losing your job, it can also make you lose your job. As we've seen in the examples I just gave, companies do not play when it comes to workplace relationship that break policies. You could be a CEO, but they will still fire you. You could be whoever, but they will still deal with you. Now look, I'm not saying office romances can never work. That is not what I'm saying. Far from what I'm saying. But before you go down that road, you need to think carefully. You need to think about the risk involved. Is this a relationship that is worth your career? Because you can lose it. Is it a relation that is worth your reputation? Is it one that is worth your future? If it is, then fine, you can go ahead if your company policy allows. But if not, you need to really think carefully about it. Because we've seen love at work can come at a very expensive price. From what I just shared with you, it can come at a very expensive. You can lose your job. Anything at all can happen. It can damage your reputation and a host of other things. And we'll get into it a bit more during our roundtable discussion this morning, where we'll explore different perspectives. We'll talk about some real-life experiences and how companies handle these situations. So you don't want to miss that conversation. I have an HR expert who is going to join me in studio and one other one who's going to join me over the phone lines, and we're going to break this thing down. You need to understand these things so that you know what you're getting yourself into, just in case you're contemplating a workplace or office romance. That will be all for Business Brief this morning. Up next is Transport Today, and Solomon Tetenate is seated, ready to bring you that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is the pre-boarding announcement for flight 3728.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engines running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Well, this is the Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. Time for Transport Today. And Solomon is here. Solo, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well this morning.
Today is Friday.
Yes. I mean, of course, it's the happiest day in the week. Right. I mean, okay, let's get into what you have to share.
Okay, so transport today, I'm taking you through the flight schedules, domestic flight schedules. And then we will look at what is going on in terms of traffic in the city of Accra.
Right.
And then some news that is, trending in the aviation sector.
Right.
So these are some of the things that are coming up in the transport today. Yes, sure. So I'm starting with the flight schedules for today. And we have two domestic airlines working in Ghana currently. That is Passion Air and then Africa World Airlines. So I'm starting with Passion Air. So Passion Air Accra to Kumasi, they have 6 flights available today.
Right.
First flight takes off 6:20 a.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 7 a.m. Then takes off in Kumasi at 7:30 a.m. and then gets to Accra at 8:10 a.m. Second flight takes off 8:50 a.m. in Accra and then gets to Kumasi at 9:30 a.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 10 a.m. and then gets to Accra at 10:40 a.m. Third flight takes off in Accra at 11:20 a.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 12 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 12:30 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 1:10 p.m. Fourth flight takes off 1:50 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 2:30 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 3 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 3:40 p.m. Fifth flight takes off 4:20 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 5 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 5:30 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 6:20 p.m. And then the sixth flight takes off 7:20 p.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 8:10 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 8:30 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 9:20 p.m. So that is Passion Air Accra to Kumasi.
Right.
And so as I said, we have 6 flights available today.
Great.
Okay, so Accra to Takra, the Passion Air. We have 2 flights available today. First flight takes off 6:20 a.m. in Accra and then arrives in Takoradi at 7:10 a.m. and then takes off in Takoradi at 7:40 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 8:30 a.m. Second flight takes off 4:20 p.m. and then arrives in Takoradi at 5:10 p.m.
Right.
and then takes off in Takoradi at 5:40 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 6:30 p.m. So Passion Air Accra to Takoradi, we have 2 flights available, and that is what I've just mentioned. And then let's look at Accra to Sunyani.
Right.
Today's weekend they have 2 flights available.
Okay.
Yeah. So first flight takes off 9:10 a.m. in Accra and then arrives in Sunyani at 10:10 a.m. and then takes off in Sunyani at 10:40 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 11:40 a.m. Second flight takes off 1:50 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Sunyani at 2:50 p.m. and then takes off in Sunyani at 3:10 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 4:10 p.m. So that is Accra to Sunyani Passion Air. Accra to Wa Passion Air. We have 1 flight available today. First flight takes off 9:40 a.m. and then arrives in Wa at 11:20 a.m. and then takes off in Wa at 11:40 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 1:20 p.m. Accra to Tamale Passion Air. Let's look at Accra to Tamale Passion Air. First flight takes off 6 a.m. in Accra and then arrives in Tamale at 7:20 a.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 7:50 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 9:10 a.m. Second flight takes off in Accra at 12:20 p.m.
Right.
and then arrives in Tamale at 1:40 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 2:10 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 3:30 p.m. Third flight takes off 4 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Tamale at 5:20 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 5:50 p.m. and then gets to Accra at 7:10 p.m. So that is Passion Air Accra to Tamale. We have 3 flights available today. So that is all for Passion Air. Let's look at Africa World Airlines. Africa World Airlines, Accra to Kumasi. We have 7 flights available today. First flight takes off 6:20 a.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 7 a.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 7:30 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 8:10 a.m. Second flight takes off 8:40 a.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 9:20 a.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 9:50 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 10:30 a.m.
Right.
Third flight takes off 11 a.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 11:40 a.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 12:50 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 1:30 p.m.
Right.
Fourth flight takes off 2:10 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 2:50 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 3:20 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 4 p.m. Fifth flight takes off 4:30 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 5:10 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 5:40 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 6:20 p.m. Sixth flight takes off 6:50 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Kumasi at 7:30 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 8 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 8:40 p.m.
Right.
So then last flight for Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi, it takes off in Accra at 7 p.m. and then arrives in Kumasi at 7:40 p.m. and then takes off in Kumasi at 8:10 p.m. and then arrives in Accra at 8:50 p.m. So that is Africa World Airlines Accra to Kumasi. Let's look at Accra to Takrady Africa World Airlines. We have 3 flights available today. Africa World Airlines Accra to Takrady. First flight takes off 6:40 a.m. and then arrives in Takrady at 7:20 a.m. and then takes off in Takrady at 7:50 a.m. and then arrives in Accra at 8:30 a.m. Second flight takes off 2:10 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Takrady at 2:50 p.m. and then takes off in Takrady at 3:20 p.m. and then gets to Accra at 4 p.m. And then the third flight, that is the last flight for Africa World Airlines Accra to Takrady, takes off in Accra at 4:30 p.m. and then arrives in Takrady at 5:10 p.m. and then takes off in Takrady at 5:40 p.m. and then gets to Accra at 6:20 p.m.
Right.
Accra to Tamale, that is Africa World Airlines Accra to Tamale. We have 5 flights available today. Accra to Tamale. First flight takes off 6:30 a.m. and then arrives in Tamale at 7:30 a.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 8 a.m. and then gets to Accra at 9 a.m. Second flight takes off at 9:30 a.m. in Accra and then arrives in Tamale at 10:30 a.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 11 a.m. and then gets to Accra at 12 p.m.
Right.
Third flight takes off 12:30 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Tamale at 1:30 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 2 p.m. and then gets to Accra at 3 p.m. And then the last but one flight for Africa World Airlines Accra to Tamale takes off 2:20 p.m. in Accra and then arrives in Tamale at 3:20 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 3:50 p.m. and then gets to Accra at 4:50 p.m. And then last flight for Africa World Airlines Accra to Tamale takes off in Accra at 3:30 p.m. and then gets to Tamale at 4:30 p.m. and then takes off in Tamale at 5 p.m. and then gets to Accra at 6 p.m. So that is all for Africa. For the flight schedules, both Africa World Airlines and then Passion Air. Let's look at the traffic situation in town. Looking at Amasaman when you are coming from Kumasi, when you get to Amasaman, the Stadium Junction, there is traffic over there at the moment.
Right.
So it will slow down your journey if you are coming from Kumasi. And then Teshi Labadi Road. If you are going to Accra, you are using the Teshi Labadi Road. When you get to Artist Alliance Gallery, there is traffic over there all the way to Melcom Labadi branch. So we should also take note of that if you are using that route. And then Palace Mall, Spintex China Mall, the main branch to Palace Mall. Also, we should take note of that. There is rest spots over there at the moment. So that is the traffic situation in town. And then let's look at what is trending in the aviation center or in the aviation world. U.S. carrier Southwest Airlines has revealed more details about its plan to upgrade the interiors of its planes as it moves to assigned seating. So the Southwest Airlines has they've plan of upgrading their interiors so that it will attract more customers to board their flights.
Right.
And their aim is to increase revenue.
Okay.
So that is the aim of doing this renovation. So they are going to upgrade their interiors, and then it will help them to increase their revenue as a company. And then Boston Logan International Airport introduces first electric catering truck in North America, and that is a good news for them, because that is the first electric truck in North America, and it's going to work at Boston Logan International Airport. So that is what is trending in the aviation sector. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Zulu. It's always a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
This morning for the transport today. Now, this is still Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. Up next is market trends, and you don't want to miss what we're going to talk about. I'm going to share with you this morning on that segment. But before that, let's take a spot of music. When we return, market trends will come your way.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Brothers bitching over fixes that ain't fitting to be hitting for nothing. Spitting things is bitten and getting written
and hold your shorty, I'm naughty. Here we go now, here we go, come and feel me flow. Here we go now, here we go, come and feel me flow. Here we go now, here we go, come and feel me flow. Here we go now, here we go, come and feel me flow.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM. Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
When I say I never see one them come in, I know the zero is back for the dance and scene. I know they must still come here, but let's have some steam. Mister. Dance and business. All the girls put your one in the ear, 'cause I'm here going right over here. Well, I don't know every day and every hour why the people don't can live together. Every day me see you a fight one another. Why you can't just say we are birds of a feather? Night and day them a fight over power. When you get the power, man, you turn them sour. Turn them sour, then you went up in a gutter. Them kind of life I man now follow. So me say come get around. I me say come get around. I me say come get around. I me say come get around and follow my sound. Me say come get around. I me say come get around. I me say come get around. I me say come get around and follow my sound. Me say everybody put your one in the air. I vibe over here, so when I vibe over there.
Zed 101.9 FM.
Now me say make things better. Stop one bitter, 'cause I'm in the end room. Why them suffer? Make love shower. Every nickel lower. Yes, because you know some me in the area. Me hot like pepper, burn like fire. Tell all the gang me and the girls them love her, love them figure. Sweet like sugar. Yes, because you know some me have the flavor. So me say come get around. Now me say come get around. Now me say come get around. Now me say come get around and follow my sound. Me say come get around. I me say come get around. I me say come get around. I me say come get around
Zed
and follow my sound.
101.9 FM.
All the girls put your one in the air. Vibe over here, so when I vibe over there.
Well, you're still tuned into Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Ni Trebi Hammond. Now, time for market trends. But just before that, this weekend, if you're looking for somewhere to go spend some good time with your family, then it should be no other place than the Marina Water Park. Now, for many of you, you probably might have heard of it, but it is one of the biggest and one of the best water parks in Ghana right now. If you're looking for somewhere to have fun, then that is where you should be, the Marina Water Park. Now, the Marina Water Park boasts of all the amazing water sports anyone can dream of, from adults to children. It's very, very good for families and for team bonding, for schools and for churches. If you're looking for a place to have a team bonding moment, then that is where you should be. Now, the Marina Water Park opens every weekend at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays and 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays. And they are open on all public holidays. This weekend, you should be at the Marina Water Park. It's located at Lakeside Marina Park. You can call them on 020-477-5044. 020-477-5044 or 0508-598-948 0508-598-948. You could also follow them on their social media platforms. You could check out what they have there at Lakeside Marina Park, or visit www.lakesidemarinapark.com. And when I say Marina Water Park, you say slide, splash, and swim. Marina Water Park, slide, splash, and swim. That is where you should be this weekend. Don't miss that. Right, let's get into market trends today. Now, this morning, I am going to talk to you about mobile money. Now, we're talking about the future of mobile money in Ghana. Is cash still king? That's a question I'm asking this morning. Now, yesterday, during Sam George's vetting, Sam George is a minister for communications, and during his vetting yesterday, mobile money took Momo, as we know it, took center stage in their discussions, and rightly so. Of course, it's one of the biggest financial shifts we've seen in Ghana, changing how we send money, pay bills, or even do business. But the big question remains, is cash still king? Or are we finally moving towards a cashless economy? Of course, there's been lots of concerns, lots of conversations about we moving to a cashless economy. And so there's been a lot of work in the space trying to make sure that we digitalize our systems so that we focus just on cash. All right. But before we can answer this question as to whether cash is still king or whether we are truly moving towards a cashless economy, I think we need to look at how far mobile money has come, the challenges it faces, and whether Ghana truly is ready for a fully digital economy. Now, let me tell you a bit about how far mobile money has come over the years. Now, the impact of mobile money in Ghana, of course, cannot be overstated. When it was introduced in 2009, few people imagined it will become the backbone of financial transactions in the country. But today, as we speak, mobile money has taken traditional banking, has overtaken traditional banking in terms of usage, because a lot of people are using mobile money these days. Now, according to the Bank of Ghana, mobile money transactions hit 1.8 trillion in 2023, 1.8 trillion Ghana cedis in 2023, nearly double the 905 Ghana cedis, 905 billion Ghana cedis recorded in 2021. That is almost twice. And Ghana is ranked among the top 3 mobile money markets in Africa, alongside Kenya and Uganda. All right. And the number of registered Momo accounts rose from 23.9 million in 2018, from 23.9 million in 2018 to over 42 million in 2023. That is more than the country's total population, right? Yeah, 42 million is definitely over our total population. So a lot of people have registered on Momo, here in Ghana. Now, mobile money has pushed Ghana's financial inclusion rate from 58% in 2017 to over 68% in 2023. And now what that means is that more Ghanaians now have access to financial services. Because we moved from 58% in 2017, we were at 58%. And as of 2023, we were up over 68%. And so more Ghanaians now have access to financial services. Now, these numbers that I've just given you, I've just mentioned, show that Momo is no longer just an alternative to cash. A lot of people prefer that as their financial tool, right? Millions of Ghanaians have focused on that. But despite these impressive statistics that I've just given you, cash remains dominant in many areas. Why? Why is that so? So let's look at some of the challenges holding mobile money back. Now, one of them is the e-levy and transaction costs. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, I'll call it, the e-levy. When the 1.5% electronic task levy, which is known as e-levy, was introduced in May 2022, which was later reduced to 1%, Momo users changed their behavior overnight. Transactions doubled by 3.2 billion Ghana cedis within the first few months. It dropped actually by 3.2 billion Ghana cedis within the first few months when we introduced e-levy. Now, many businesses and individuals also stopped using Momo for large transactions just so that they could avoid the tax. Because everybody started complaining that if I send money to somebody and they have to take some tax on it, then I won't send. And so because of that, a lot of people stopped using Momo for large transactions. Now, some employees also switched back to paying salaries in cash instead of Momo. Employers, I beg to differ. Sorry, I meant to say. So they switched back to Momo. They switched back to cash, really, because now they had to pay taxes if they are paying their employees. And this levy intended to boost Ghana's revenue, but it ended up discouraging Momo use for many people, particularly small business owners. And even today, people still look for ways to avoid the charges. They choose to withdraw the cash at agent's points rather than sending the money digitally. They will go and withdraw instead because that they can avoid those issues. Now, another challenge was fraud and security concerns. And that is what I want us to do. We'll dwell on this a bit. I know a lot of people have experiences with Momo fraud and all of that. Please feel free to call in. I'll give you the number very soon. Feel free to call into the conversation and share your experience with that. Now, fraud is another major issue with Momo. In 2022 alone, over 26 million Ghana cedis, was lost to mobile money fraud. In 2022, 26 million Ghana cedis, that's a lot of money, was lost to mobile money fraud. Now, the scammers, they've developed a lot of sophisticated methods. They can call you and say they are calling from your network provider. They can clone some mobile money messages. They unauthorized deductions, a whole lot of things that they are using to defraud people. And this morning, we'll talk a bit about that. And you can feel free to share your experience, as I said. So, some mobile money agents, Momo agents themselves have been caught tampering with some transactions. And this has left a lot of people frustrated. But with the rising fraud cases, some Ghanaians fear using Momo because of that. They prefer to continue to use their cash. And one thing is that until these security concerns are addressed, the road to fully moving to a cashless society will remain rough. We can't really promise that people are going to stick to that because of some of these concerns. And so let me give you the number just in case you have something to share. You can join the conversation on 0544321019. Have you ever been frauded? If you've been frauded before, you can share your experience with me over WhatsApp, or you can do a voice note, or you can as well call us, and then we'll put you on the call. And you can share your experience with us, and then maybe we'll talk a bit more. So 0544-321019, 0544-321019, 0544-321019. Feel free to join the conversation. Now, another thing, whilst I'm waiting for your calls, another thing that has affected us, mobile money in Ghana is the Ghanaian cash culture. Now, despite the rise of Momo, cash is still deeply rooted in our culture, whether we like it or not. You walk into any marketplace, shop bar, trotro station, you find that cash is a preferred mode of payment. A lot of people, even some sellers or some business people, will tell you that no, they are on Momo. They don't take Momo. So you have to give them cash if you want to make some payments. And so because of that, it has also affected our Momo acceptance or cashless society acceptance. Right? Now, many small businesses also prefer cash because it's instant. And there are no delays, there are no deductions. They are not now going to type anything and all of that, right? Some customers, especially those in rural areas, don't trust digital money. Oh, I just noticed that some people are already calling. Please feel free to call. I'm ready to take your calls. I can pause my conversation and take your calls. All right. So please feel free. The number is 0544-321019. You can as well share your experience over our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and X at ZFMGH, Instagram, Facebook, and X. I have a caller on the line right now. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm blessed. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Fifi Thomas.
Oh, Fifi. Thanks so much for calling to the show. Please share your experience with us. Yeah.
Okay. My brother, I do a very good work. I want to thank you for feeding us with just such nutritious breakfast this morning. I really appreciate it. This mobile money thing has really come to stay. There is no way we're going to go back. I mean, obviously, we're going to do the cash system thing, but more has really come to stay. But the question is, what does the government use our 1% for? You see, accountability here plays a major role. I know what my 1% is being used for, and then I'm being charged for whatever transaction I do, and I know that, oh, yes, I'm going to use this money to do 1, 2, 3 through ABC.
Right.
You get me? Now, when I'm going to the bank and I have whatever amount of money in my pocket, because of Momo, I'm free to put the money on my phone and then go cashless. You get what I am saying? So I think this is quite difficult.
Hello?
Yes, change is very difficult.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I'll humbly plead that you lower your radio set a bit because I'm struggling to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, please
Can
lower
you
your...
hear me now?
Relatively better.
Okay. So I'm saying that change is very, very difficult. Moving from the cash thing to the cashless thing, it's going to take a few time for us to get ourselves acquainted with. What I'm saying is that security-wise is the best. I mean, you go to work with no cash on you, but yet you have money on your mobile phone. I mean, it's better. I mean, getting a lot of that to reduce. So to me, it is best, but accountability plays a bigger role. Thank you.
Right. Great. Thanks so much for calling. I appreciate your consent. I just want to make sure that I got your name right. Can you repeat it? Hello? Hello, I think a call dropped. Okay. So his concern is on the e-levy. The 1% that the government is charging. What is it being used for? But the good news is that President Mahama says he's going to scrap it. We hope that he does because it will help people to embrace Momo once again. But feel free to call into the show 0544-321019, 0544-321019. Please feel free to share your experience. Now, Solo is here. Solo knows somebody that has an experience. Or you yourself? Solo, is it you or somebody? Tell me.
Oh, it's me.
Oh, you've had an experience.
Yes,
So let's share your experience with us about Momo fraud.
So I think late last year, around December, I was having some amount of money in my Momo, and then they had a friend of mine her WhatsApp.
Okay.
And she's someone that I usually text with. So she texted me and was like, "Oh, Charlie, some bundle B. So if you would like to buy," I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And looking at the packages, I mean, it was interesting. So I said, "Then you give me the the code so that I can
buy.
Yeah, I can buy." So she gave me the code. No, I wasn't texting with her. Her account has been hacked, so I was texting with the fraud, the fraudster, So I actually went through the prompts and everything, the procedures that they gave me, and then all of a sudden I realized there has been a transfer from my account. I was like, this amount almost 7,000. So I was shocked. I was like, what is happening? So then I tried to text my friend, and then I was like, what is going on? And the person was like, relax. So when the person texted like, relax. I realized another transaction. I was like, Then I tried to call my friend. I tried calling her. It didn't go through. I was like, what is going on? So later I realized she came to text on her WhatsApp status that I've been hacked. And if someone texts you, don't mind the person. I was like, whoa.
But how do they do that?
I don't know. I think they develop a system. That's what someone told me, that they develop a system that they use to, do all these procedures. I don't know how, because I was talking to one tech guy, and I was like, this looks unusual, because how can you give me just a code to follow the prompt, and when you dial the code, you see the packages, the bundle packages and everything. So I was like, what is going on? Like, because I don't understand. And then the guy told me, it's possible they can develop a system and let you go through those systems as if you are buying the bundle. But you see, when you are buying bundle too, definitely they will tell you to enter your code. So I think that's when they got the access to my code.
I see.
So I entered my code. Yeah.
So hold on for me. I have a caller on the line. You are in studio, so let me. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ikia.
Ikia. Okay.
Yeah, calling from Central.
All right, Ikia, share your experience with us. Or, I mean, your thoughts on the conversation we're having.
Yeah, I think about 4 months ago, I was there, and then someone sent a package to my class group, like talking about bundles.
The same thing with Solu.
Yeah, and so I thought, because my classmates cannot scam me, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I texted the person, and then he said, okay, what number do you want to buy it on? And then I sent the number. So before, that number had like just 70 cedis on it. And then he made me send the money for the package I wanted. It was 40 cedis. So he just called, and then he said we have to start the process. And then in the process, I have to give him like my Momo PIN. So I texted my friend, the one who sent the package to the group. And then the girl said, oh, yeah, that's how the person does it. Now she knows the person. So I said, okay. So I gave the Momo PIN to him, my biggest mistake. So he called, and then he's like, okay, the network is not okay, so I'll call you back. Sana is because I don't have money on my phone.
Yeah, boo.
So later, someone sent me 600 cedis for something. And then he said, we can start the process now. I said, okay. And then we started. The package was not coming. Like, you send me a code. Can you mention the code to me? Can you do this? And I was not even thinking straight that day. Like, why would I even do that? So I was mentioning all the codes to him. And then just then and then I realized, and they sent a message, and then it said they had transferred 600 cedis to a Momo number. And then that number was a merchant SIM. So you cannot send it to another number.
Right.
The 600 cedis was gone.
So they took your 600 cedis?
600, and then after that, they blocked my number so nobody could call me. And then they hacked into my WhatsApp.
They hacked into your... So it's not only Momo?
No, they hacked into my WhatsApp too.
Oh, sorry about that.
Took my friend's contact and then did the same to them. Some of them 7,700, some of them 300 cedis. And then that same person even used my friend's number to text me and said, Adobia, send me 300 cedis. Hey!
Oh. Ikia, sorry. We are sorry about that. But how has that affected your view of mobile money?
But now I'm scared of using my MTN Momo. I'm very scared because I've not heard anyone complain about Vodafone. I'm yet to hear anybody say something about it. But for MTN, I'm scared.
You're scared.
So I even changed my Momo PIN.
Yeah, you have to, because but we need to be very cautious. How
very
yeah. Because once somebody has your mobile money PIN, they can tamper with your account.
And then because I knew the girl, I thought, they couldn't do anything like that to me because I know the girl.
Oh.
So I reached out to the girl, and then the girl was like, "No, me today has my phone."
Ooh. The same thing they did to Solo.
Yes.
Ikia, we can only say sorry.
That's okay. I've gotten over it now.
Sorry about that. So, thank you very much for calling into the show. We are grateful that you shared your experience with us. Yeah. All right. Please have. So, Ikia, please keep listening to Z101.9 FM. Thank you. So, let me come back to you. So, how has it affected your Momo? Ikia is scared. How about you?
Honestly, from the start, I didn't want to even put money in my Momo because I like, no, and especially if the money is that huge, I don't want to put it there. And as of now, I don't think I'll put more than 1,000 Ghana cedis in my Momo.
Account.
Definitely, I will rather transfer it to my bank account instead of the Momo. And whoever I share this with, the person will be like, "Why did you put such huge amount in Momo instead of your bank account and all that?" But you know, that money was the money that I was just going to use it with a possible time, like within short possible time, you know. Right. So I didn't see the essence of going to the bank
to
or
go and put it
in the bank and all that. Right. But for now, even if I'll use it tomorrow, maybe I'll put it in the bank. So I think I think it has created some kind of perception and all that. But that is it.
Sorry
you need
about
to be
that.
Cautious about certain things now, and it has taught me a lot.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the number is still 0544321019. Please feel free to share your experience with us. We're almost wrapping up. You could also call us on 03039566641, 03039566641, and share your Momo experience with us. Now, let me continue. Now, so because of this rising fraud cases, a lot of Ghanaians fear using Momo for big transactions, and so they prefer the security of cash. And of course, until these security concerns are dealt with, the road to a fully cashless society will remain rough.
Hello?
Oh, we have a caller on the line. Hello?
Yes, hello? Good morning.
Good morning. Say your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, this is Alo from Madenta.
Okay, and well?
Yes, I just jumped on your station and I want to contribute about this Momo. Yes, it's worrying. I spoke with a little friend, and one thing he said to me was that Ghanaians don't sue enough. And I think it's true.
Ghanaians don't do what?
Don't sue enough. We don't sue.
Sue, right.
Yes, we don't take actions in court. We don't take companies to court. We don't hold them liable for bad experiences when it comes to customer, relationships and all that. So some of them are multi-million, companies in Ghana, and they know that they must fix the system, but they ride on ignorance of Ghanaians. And I don't know if we have consumer protection agencies in Ghana that protect Ghanaians. I don't know. It's like everybody opens business, set up business in Ghana, and they take advantage of Ghanaians. Ghanaians, what they do is go on radio, talk about it, and that's it.
And that's it.
How can a scammer or how can a hacker hack someone's Momo account, withdraw money, and then all we hear is you say sorry to the person on radio? What are you doing to help that person? What actions? Because you have lawyers. I'm sure that the media station, you have lawyers, program managers. You guys are communicating with lawyers and all that. What do we do to protect Ghanaians? Is it that sorry? And I heard a lady say, "Oh, I'm over it." You're not over it. You are not over it. People are going through the same.
Right.
How can we hold these companies accountable? How can they strengthen their system so that hackers don't get into the system? Those things are things of the past. COVID has taught us a lot. We must move forward as human beings, as thinkers.
Right.
You understand me?
Right.
We must do it ourselves.
That's true.
Donald Trump is doing a good job. Look at how Trump's character. Everybody's saying, oh, that he has got the another chance again. Because when he came for the first time, people thought this guy was radical. But these are the people that we need to transform systems. We can't say someone.
Right.
What is MTN? What is Vodafone? What are they doing? If someone has a Momo account and takes your money out, what is the legal implication for all that? Can we sue them? Yes, you can sue them.
I think we need to have a conversation. We'll probably find time and get a legal person, I mean somebody who's in the law profession, to educate us.
I'm sure this program you are holding right now, or you are backing on whatever it is, you are trying to educate people.
Yeah.
And you are trying to show them what the steps, what they should do with the first victim of stuff like this. It is not about apology.
Right.
Look, MTN is making so much money.
That's true.
Is making so much money. You buy data, you don't even know what the data is just vanishing. What can we call MTN and tell them to give us our records so we can see how we use the data. How much percentage it takes when we spend an hour? How much percentage when you understand me?
Yeah, I get you.
Scrutinize all these people.
That's true.
And I think some judges do a good job. I don't know.
Yeah,
I believe that you do a good job. We must scrutinize. Look, data is not cheap. Data, you just check your balance, everything is gone. Well, they make a call.
Right.
Because there's no history. You can't call them to give you history.
We'll have to. We'll have to.
Encourage people, yes.
Yeah, we have to.
People. We must encourage Ghanaians.
Right.
Take action. Action.
We have to. Yeah, I think it's exactly what you mentioned. Yeah, you know, in the Ghanaian culture, we are easily bent to leave things to God. It's okay. Yeah, but I think it's about time, right? It's about time.
Don't even have time for this anymore. No, we don't even have time for this. We must take action.
Right. We have to.
We are thinkers. Ghanaians are smart people. We are thinkers. Does that mean we must exhibit that in our daily lives?
That's true.
People, matter. Let's take action. You understand me?
That's true.
Excuse me, let me just go off the record a little bit.
Okay.
ECG guys came to my house. Let's said my meter is not consuming enough. I have ACs. Why am I using 200 CDs for a week? Look, listen to that. And I asked him, do I have to pay 1,000, 2,000 Ghana CDs to use ACs? How do you even know that I use the ACs? Because you see them on the walls of the building, you think I use them. I'm not a consumer. Don't I know how to protect my consumption? Or don't I know how to reduce? Do you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I get it.
They feel like you must consume so we can make money. Consume so we make money. That is how it is. So all this data, this MTN, they feel like consume, let's make money.
Right. We'll have to speak to.
Yes, I think you must have a protection.
Yeah, we'll have to. We'll have to speak to the
I'm sure they are being given money for the activities from NGOs and all these things. They must account for it too.
That's true.
It's not if you set up a consumer agency protection, then you acquire it. They must be audited too. How are you helping Ghanaians? Where are you getting your finance from? You must scrutinize all these things. All right, bro.
Thank you very much, Mano, for calling. We'll find time and speak to the telecoms. Hello. Oh, okay. Hello. Yeah, thank you very much for calling. You share very salient points. We need to really look into some of these things, and we'll talk to the telecoms chamber one of these days and have a conversation around it. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Please keep listening to Zed 101.9 FM. We're grateful that you called.
Okay. You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Right. So you heard there, Allah. I mean, he shared his concerns as well. And he wants us to start taking action when some of these things happen. Unfortunately, time won't allow us to take some more calls, and so we will have to. Let me just wrap up on what I was sharing, and then we can move on with our show today. Now, I already spoke about the Ghanaian cash culture. I already spoke about the fraud cases, and another thing is that smartphone and internet accessibility is also a challenge that is holding mobile money back. Unfortunately, we can't accept any calls. My producer says we should accept just one call. So let me speak to who's on the phone. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Kindly turn down the volume on your radio set, please.
Right. Sorry. Good morning. Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please.
My name is Mavis. I'm from Pokwasi.
Mavis from Pokwasi.
Yes.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, I'm a nurse actually, but I sell sweatwear online.
Okay.
Yes. So we use this Momo a lot. So I have friends who are into the same business. And this Momo for just yesterday, a friend lost 49,000 Ghana cedis. Apparently, you see, you buy the dresses and we ask you to send a screenshot of your payment so that we verify that you've paid and your dresses will be dispatched. So this my friend had not been checking. So the girl actually generate fake money messages, then send to her. This has gone on over a period of a month. So she buy like 4,000, the next day 4,000, the next day 7,000, and it has accumulated to this 49,000 I'm talking of.
And all this while she wasn't checking.
All this while, yes. So I was even blaming her that someone cannot just send you a screenshot and you think that is all. So yesterday she said she was not going to accept Momo again. I said like, whoa. We are online. We are doing this business online. If you accept Bobo, what are you going to do?
What are you going to accept?
So, yeah, we just have to be alert. I think, yes, when we go, we are not saying that we are superhumans, that you can be alert and you still get fraud. That one happens. But if you go extra mile to be checking and all these things, at least it will be better.
It will be better. So
Myself, I had another experience. A customer bought dresses for me a month ago. 200 cedis. So he bought another dress just within this week. I asked her to send her screenshot. Then she sent me the old screenshot. You understand?
Yeah.
So I was just fast to check the transaction IDs. I realized no, it's the same transaction ID. Because in this case, if you should go to your mobile money messages and type her name, it will pop up because she has sent you money last month.
Right.
Yes. But the transaction IDs won't be the same.
It won't be the same, yes.
So I will just indulge all of us that we should just be careful. At least if we did it would be better because
That's true.
This process, they are really everywhere.
That's true.
Everywhere. To think that I bought something, I should just send the same screenshot to somebody. Like, they are everywhere. The women are everybody. So this is my little contribution.
Right. Thank you so much for calling us, Mavis. We are grateful that you called. And just like we mentioned a while ago, we will consider having a conversation around this so that we could educate.
To protect some of these small
true.
business owners like
Right,
that. Because,
right.
It's serious. 49,000 is no joke.
It's no joke. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, so thank you. We entreat you to continue listening to Zed. We are grateful that you called.
Sure. Thank you too. Have a great day.
You do same. Right. So you also heard there, Mavis. She shared a experience. Well, personally, my mother also doesn't like Momo. Not because she's been defrauded before. She finds the whole thing complicated, and she's scared of being defrauded. But anyway, so let me just wrap up. So Ghana has been making some serious efforts to move towards a cashless economy. Yeah, the government's launched the QR code payments to digital transactions to make digital transactions easier. More business and service providers now accept Momo payments from supermarkets to hospitals. Even some public transport services like Ayalulu have also piloted cashless payments. However, the truth is that we are not there yet. I don't think so. For Ghana to truly embrace a cashless future, the Momo charges must be reduced or removed to encourage more digital transactions. Fraud must also be tackled aggressively. Fraud must be tackled aggressively with better security systems in place. internet access and smartphone affordability must improve, because a lot of people, about 44 million of Ghanaians, are using YAM, what we call the YAM phones. And a massive public education campaign must also go on to encourage people to trust in the system. So right now, Ghana operates a hybrid financial system, Momo by day, cash by night, as I like to call it. While mobile money is clearly on the rise, cash still dominates many parts of our economy. But here's the thing, cash may not disappear overnight, but its dominance is gradually fading. Mobile money is too big to ignore, and it will continue to grow. And the key now is to make mobile money more affordable, secure, and accessible, so that people choose it willingly and not out of necessity. So I'll ask again, are we really ready for a fully cashless Ghana, or will cash continue to rule for years to come? Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you very much for listening to Market Trends. Up next is our roundtable discussion, and I've already seated my guest for today. Let's take a spot of music. When we return, we'll get into the conversation. Stay tuned.
All lovers to feel the love this Valentine with Love A to Z on Zed FM.
We're bringing love to life in every way, whether it's a grand gesture or a simple story.
Share your love moments with us, dedicate your favorite songs, and win amazing prizes along the way.
Tune in to Love A to Z on Zed FM 101.9.
From Wednesday the 29th of January to Friday February 14th, you'll have the chance of winning amazing prizes from interactions on all our social media channels.
From BBC to the brighter side with NYA the brand, and all the way to Highway 1019.
This Valentine, we'll make it every day a day to remember. Tune in, feel the love, and let us make your celebration unforgettable.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM. Zed 101.9 FM.
Baby mu wana miye majimu boom. Miye da musola muntu. Ene menya bimu bo musoli na mufu. Au baby mu wana miye majimu boom. Body ni jinamide yokozuna boile along here and pay na pewona done. She baby boo ye heavy we do. Makasa na mo for my baby take cool. Eye me ufu de bia mo shower muhu e dem hu one on one mo bodam aseshu hwamaka high sweet na ke hello your papa was street ye wear your flex no ghetto mo wanna my G my wanna do melo obi obo try with some mechi no bo santi yellow mo so wo mo physical my chama mama there when you super service it you no mo to chop it. This is Misha Bibi, the Mumu who pay me imagine da. Yankupon the Bamba, that's a demo from Bamba again. Canabadano Shagana from the Biabo day. Designers were Hoba with Yam in the best. But start from height 5.5, the side by side. The shape in the nice. The hips in the Texas, so you kept them wide. Oh my God, may you stop my flats. The back in the way you steady, and that's in the main yippee. Yes, it be your auntie was shaky. Brown skin girl, look at the black thick hair. My father, both for the baby, and I come on, and share.
Stay tuned to your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Zed 101.9 FM.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Well, of course, this is still Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. Now, this morning is we're going to have a conversation. It's time for a roundtable discussion, and we'll be having a conversation on workplace romance. And we'll explore the complexities and the potential pitfalls of that. Now, while romantic relations are natural, their presence in the workplace can lead to significant challenges that, of course, undermine professional environments. From conflict of interest and favoritism to creating tension and gossip, office romances can disrupt team dynamics and harm productivity. So we'll discuss the ethical, legal, and professional implications of that, and we'll also highlight how they can lead to uncomfortable situation, damage team morale, and even lead to costly legal issues. Now, we have our guest experts that are going to break this down for us this morning. And the topic for the discussion really is maintaining professionalism, how office romance can affect team dynamics. I have in studio with me the CEO and founder of Skidle Consult, an HR consulting firm in Ghana. His name is Kwesi Edumaje Hagan. Edumaze Hagan. He's in studio here. Kwesi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm great. Yourself?
Great. Also, I have joining me over the phone lines Mr. Ernest Apia, who is also an HR practitioner with over 30 years hands-on experience in HR and administrative space. Now, because he has 15 years plus experience,
Sure.
yes, and then Mr. Apia also has over 30 years of experience.
45 years.
Right. Yeah, that's 45 years put together. Right, that's great. So he's joined me over the phone lines. Mr. Pia, good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, how are you doing?
I'm well by the grace of God.
Right, that is good. We're glad to have you this morning over the phone lines for this conversation. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to discuss workplace romance and how it affects the business and the work, the team dynamics, and what have you. And we'll also explore how organizations can maintain a healthy work culture by setting some clear boundaries and policies, while as well encouraging employees to respect professional relationships over personal ones. And of course, if you're listening to us, you're going to walk away with some valuable insights on how to handle your workplace dynamics, make some wise decisions, and prioritize professionalism to foster positive and productive work environment. So one more time, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. Let me start in studio with Mr. Kwesi Hagan, So I'll just say Mr. Hagan. Yeah, I hope that is fine.
Just to be safe.
Right. So let's start the conversation from the basics. Why do you think people get into office romance, and why is it so common?
So as you mentioned in your introduction, it's a complex situation.
Right.
So if we look at research conducted by Forbes, they indicated about 60% of employees have engaged in workplace romance before. And then some of the common reasons why this happens simply have to do with, if we just look at our schedule, we leave our homes. In the morning, we are in the office. Right. We get home very late. So most of the time, we spend at the workplace. So the proximity to people of the opposite sex working together, sharing goals and ideas together with time creates some of these situations.
Right. Right. That's very important. I agree, because, when you spend a lot of time with somebody, your connection begin to grow further, and I think that is very important. Let me go to Mr. Apia over the phone lines. Sir. Yeah. Why do you think? Because Mr. Hagan has just shared his thoughts on that. Why do you think office romance is so common?
I will share the same sentiment. We spend quite a bit of time in the office. On average, people spend between 8 to 10 hours a day in the office. And when you spend that amount of time with somebody, friendship develops, which ultimately can lead to romantic relationships.
Right.
So I think that is the main reason.
Right. So in your experience, how do workplace relationships typically affect overall team dynamics?
It creates problems in the sense that when you mix rationality with emotion, then you have a problem.
Right.
A lot of decisions we make in the office space, it's rational. But when it comes to relationships, you are dealing with emotions. And so mixing the two creates a problem, creates tension. And that is what affects the team dynamics.
Okay, let me come into you, Mr. Hagan.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to add to what Mr. Apia mentioned, even the effect is not only on the two people having that relationship. It also transcends to even other team members. People are observant. People watch things. I remember my mom always used to say that when you are working, you think that people don't have issues about you. But let something come up, that you see that people have a whole lot of dossier about what you have been doing that they are not aware. So as this relationship develops, other people within the workplace also notice, and that also affects them.
Right. But do you think organizations should actively discourage workplace relationships?
Well, many companies have policies in regulating how workplace relationships could go about.
Right.
The issue is with employees respecting and going about those policies, because one of the facts is also there have been people who have also been able to find their marriage mates at the workplace.
That's true.
So either one of them leave, or the business have a way of regulating it. So to say that the company should totally say that it shouldn't happen, it has to do with regulating it and then employees also respecting it. But that is a very tricky situation to handle.
So to you, they should allow the people to professionally handle it, the employees.
It should be regulated. It should be regulated. There should be clear policies, and then right from the onboarding stage, it has to be clearly explained. I remember in one of the companies that I was the head of HR, as part of the onboarding, you explain all these things to the employees. They will look straight to your face and tell you that, sir, this one, it won't work. If I see someone that I really love, that the person can marry me, are you saying that I should not have a relationship with a person, then it goes to what the company policy says.
Right.
Should you resign if you want to involve yourself in that situation, report it to HR, then the business takes the right decision as to what to do, then we pick it up from there.
Right. Mr. Pia, do you agree?
Yes, I do. I mean, yes, the company must have policies that would should regulate these issues. I mean, in the past, companies frowned on it. It was a no-no. And over time, people have realized that, look, it is difficult to say that you cannot develop romantic relationships in the workplace.
Right.
And so the best way is to have a policy and set some boundaries, so that it doesn't affect the business.
Right. We'll get into the kind of boundaries they can set for that. But let's settle on the team dynamics, how it affects team dynamics. Let's talk a bit about that. And I want you to answer this, Mr. Pia. How can an office romance create tension among team members who are not involved?
Okay. So you notice that if two people in a group are in a romantic relationship, now other members will not trust them. Because if you discuss anything, you are sure that this other, even if one of the two people in the relationship are not present, the other one person will go and tell the other person.
Right.
So it affects issues of trust within the team. People cannot talk freely because they know that, look, these two people, they go beyond just professional relationship. Yeah.
Right. Let me come to, are there some real life experiences that or examples that you can share, Mr. Pierre?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I mean, in my previous working life, there was somebody who was, a senior person who was dating a younger person, not a younger person, a junior person in the team. And, I had joined and I didn't know there was this relationship going on. And later on, I got to know that, the big man was dating the junior person. So from then onward, I was careful around the lady, what I would say, what I wouldn't say, and all that. So yes, I have personally experienced such a thing.
When you say you're careful around her, what do you mean? Is it that you cannot? Yeah, go ahead.
So what it is that, in the office, maybe the boss has done something and maybe we are not happy and we are discussing it. If the lady is around, I'm not going to talk. you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are some of the dynamics that affect the team.
Right. So it has affected you. It's affected how you relate in the office directly when she's around.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Let me come to Mr. Egan. Mr. Egan, do you have some real life experiences or examples you could share?
Yeah, quite a number of them.
Right.
I will pick it from the point that relationships can also turn sour.
That's true.
And there could also be some conflicts along the line.
Right.
So a situation where a manager was dating a staff that he was supposed to manage. Now the relationship turns sour.
That's true.
The employee was having issues with the performance. They call this manager, task this manager to ensure that they improve the performance of these employees. So that was the task that senior management gave. Though you could imagine how things will turn out.
Right.
Now you are not in good talking terms. You have your own issues. You have now been tasked that help this employee to improve their performance within this period of time. And I mean, it's something.
So does it mean that the management didn't know that they were in a relationship?
No, they didn't. They didn't. As we have mentioned, the policies are there. But the employees, many of them, they will not report it.
But if they don't report it, can't the companies take them on?
If the company gets to know. If the company gets to know.
Right.
They will take them
What
on.
other examples? Because you mentioned you had a number of them. And you mentioned manager and staff, or manager and employee. And Mr. P also did same. So yeah, tell me. I mean, among two employees.
Okay. That also happens a lot. I think in Mr. Pierre's earlier example, he mentioned when two people are in a relationship with let's even take it for instance, they are colleagues, and one is not there. The others, when they know, they are more careful when they are discussing anything because they know that when you say something and the other person is not there, then the other person will also get to know. And you see, most of these relationships, sometimes we will think that it's even the manager and the subordinates that happen. But within the employees who are peers, it even happens more than even manager and their bosses. And that affects a lot. The gossip within the team. People are gossiping here and there about these two employees who are going out at work time when they are supposed to work. Then they are sending WhatsApp messages to each other, checking up. So time that has to be used for office work, then these two lovebirds, they are using the time to interact and then be checking up on each other.
And that affects productivity.
Exactly, sure, it does.
In the office. Right. Now, you have shared that experience between the manager and the staff, or let's say the employee, and how, because they had the problem with their relationship, it affected the business. But have you heard of any favoritism in line with office romance?
A lot. It happens. So I remember in one of the places that I worked, especially with the female employees, when they get the promotions, then it's all over the place. So it's not about merit. It's because the big man is having something to do with it. That is why. So it happens a lot when it comes to promotions, when it comes to payment of bonuses and some benefits within the companies. That kind of perception that people get preferred or preferential treatment because they are in a relationship with a superior within the company. It happens a lot. Yeah.
Well, it's exactly 9 a.m. And this is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. This morning, we're having a conversation on how to maintain professionalism at the workplace. And the focus is on office romance or workplace romance. And we're talking to Mr. Hagan and Mr. Apia, who are professional HRs. They've been in the space for several years. Mr. Hagan has been in the space for over 15 years, and then Mr. Apia over 30 years. And so cumulatively, maybe about 45 years of experience that they are sharing on how we can manage or maintain professionalism at the workplace. You can join a conversation via WhatsApp or via social media platforms. On WhatsApp, you can text us on 0544 321019, 0544 321019. You can send us a text. We'll make sure to read it, and then we take it from there. But you can also call us. So this is our call number, 030 3956 641, 030 3956 641. You can call us and join the conversation. If you have a question, something you need clarity on, you can feel free to ask. And as well, you could check us on our social media platforms and drop a comment. We'll do well to read it as and when we see it. On Instagram, Facebook, and X, we are ZFMGH. Instagram, Facebook, and X, ZFMGH. Right. Now, let me come back to Mr. Pia, who is over the phone lines with us. Say, have you also witnessed or heard of favoritism in the workplace due to a relationship? I mean, from what you shared a while ago.
Yeah, I think it's similar to my colleague said in the studio. Yeah. So issues around promotion, and the rumor is that though this lady has been treated because she's in a relationship with a big man and things like that. So yes.
You've had, but how does that impact work culture?
And that people are favored because they are in a romantic relationship with over people who actually work. So it compromises those standards.
Right.
And it can demotivate people.
How?
Well, if I'm working hard and the lady who is not working hard gets favored over me because she's in a relationship, naturally I would drop my effort level.
That's true. That's true. Right. Okay. Let me also ask Mr. Hagan. Mr. Hagan, how did that affect work culture?
So to add to what Mr. Apia mentioned, yes, people are demoralized and people feel that things are not, it's not about what you put in. It's about your relationship with others. So in that sense, then, the effect that it also have with other employees who maybe in terms of their values and the rest, they have quite lax values, will also be, okay, let me also look for some big man to align myself with so that then when it gets to promotions and the rest, I could be favored. So in the long run, then it changes the workplace culture. It's not about performance. It's about how well you were able to align yourself with some big man. In this case, being in a relationship with someone in a position of authority,
right?
So that you can move within the ladder within the business.
All right. Okay, let's also talk about how workplace gossip or speculations about colleagues in a relationship impact the team cohesion. Mr. Egan.
Yes, so many times people are not also good at keeping their relationships very, let's say, private. So there will be overt display of affections and the rest at the workplace. Then others get to know about it. Then when it comes to teamwork or team cohesion, then it's like people are no longer working together again. Especially when the relationship, you try to have some issues or some problem. You know, the workplace is like a value chain.
Right.
Our work also depends on each other. There's that kind of interdependencies.
Right.
So where maybe you need to even call a colleague that you have been in a relationship with before and things went bad. Calling the person to get information for even a customer or for the business that it affects the time that deliverables are achieved within the business, because then you try to dilly-dally get another employee to go and find out and get that information and then bring it to you, and that will waste a lot of time.
Right. Mr. Pia. Yes. So what happens when the relationship goes bad? How does it affect the individuals involved and their colleagues?
Yes. With the individuals concerned, emotions can turn from being positive to negative. And when it's negative, it's very explosive.
Right.
And depending on how they manage it can spill over to the entire team. So, and normally it's not very easy to manage it. So the person's body language, sometimes even without opening your mouth, your body language will tell that you are upset with this person.
Right.
Because communication tells us that about 60% of our communication is through body language.
It's not verbal, yeah.
And so you find that when it goes south, between the two people, they can't see eye to eye with each other, and it affects the team cohesion.
That's true. Yeah. Now, how can a relationship, a romantic relationship between a manager and an employee create ethical dilemmas or conflicts of interest, Mr. Hagan?
Confidentiality is very key when it comes to being a leader within a business, because people need to trust you. Then you are in a relationship with, let's say, a junior staff. You go for meetings. Definitely within the day, the person will be checking up on you. Where are you? Okay, I'm in the meeting. What type of meeting are you in? Then you tend to give out certain confidential information that you are not supposed to also give out. And these junior employees will also try to also get some information from you. That makes them feel is it more important or more powerful than their other colleagues, because there are some information that they think others are not privy to, but because of their relationship with the top person, they're able to get that information. So, I mean, that kind of confidentiality, if you're a manager and the rest, you will be faced with that dilemma of being confidential and divulging some information to a person that is not supposed to have it. But because you are in a relationship with, you will end up giving out some of this information out. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Pia, do you have something to add to that? Hello, Mr. Pia. Hello. Hello. I think we lost him. We'll try and get him back over the phone lines. Yeah, but let's also talk about how. I mean, what are some of the warning signs? What are some of the warning signs that an office romance is starting to create divisions within a team?
Okay, it usually starts with the gossips. The gossip is the first sign. You hear people gossiping about it. Oh, this manager is in a relationship with this person. When you hear that, then you have to know that then it's beginning to create tensions within the team, because now people care. People are concerned about it. That is why the gossip has started. Yeah.
What other things?
Yes, and also you also realize that it also affects productivity. I mean, productivity also comes in. So sometimes you have some teams who are meeting deadlines and the rest, or an employee who hitherto was very productive, but now you realize that this employee is trying to the performance has dipped. Sometimes they tend to stay longer at work, which you might think that they are working very hard, but it does not relate with the how do you call it, the performance. Then you have to know that then it's beginning to have problems.
Do you think that HR should be notified about romantic relationships?
Well, that's what is in our policies, that as soon as
every HR,
it should, because those are the regulations. Even though our Labor Act doesn't specifically say something like that, but then it is best practice to have policies to guide it, because it is for good reasons. So can you imagine, let's say an accountant and an auditor in a relationship? Then one will embezzle money, then the auditor will cover up. When you go on your audit, you notice that, and then you cover up. It will have detrimental effect on the company. So its policy is let the company know. The company are not saying don't be in a relationship. If you decide to be in a relationship, let the company know. If one of you can be transferred, and it's practical, depending on the roles that the two of you are occupying, the business will take decision on that. And then also, if one also needs to resign, then the other also resign. So those are some of the policies regulating it. So HR needs to know.
And what does the HR do about it when they have that information that these two people are in a relationship? How does it benefit them, and what do they do about it?
So confidentiality is key here. So HR, when two people disclose that they are in a relationship with you, you also don't go about just telling people and the rest. At least it's at the top management level. So it is discussed there, and then, as I mentioned, there are several factors that are taken into consideration. Then the business makes a decision on that.
Okay, but I'm not so clear on that. I want you to throw some more light. Now, the question I'm asking is that now the HR has been informed. You are the HR. You've been informed that I am in a relationship with this, or these two people are in a relationship. What does that information do to you as a HR?
So there are policies. The policy tells you what to do. When an employee come and inform you that we are in a relationship, the policy clearly spells out what you do. So HR is guided by what the policy says. So you go by the policy.
And one of them is a confidentiality bit.
The confidentiality bit, and then but senior management also will have to know, because a decision will have to be made.
And doesn't it affect the work that they are doing?
Well, it's in that period you are still doing your work until, let's say, management calls you, or you yourself. In some places, one of them resigns. Then get another job somewhere and then do. If practically the business can also transfer one to another location or assign the other one to a different job schedule, as long as that is practical, the business also does it. But the interest of the company is paramount to your romantic relationship.
All right, Mr. Apia.
Yes.
Yeah, glad to have you back. So
thank you.
I'm asking that should HR be notified when two people when colleagues enter into a relationship, and
Yes,
why?
they should.
Why should they be informed?
Okay, so when HR is informed, we need to do an assessment of the implications of that, and then be guided by the policy to make the right decision. So, for example, if the two people are working in the same department, company policy may not allow that, and so one has to be moved out of that department. You know, and then also a boss and a subordinate cannot be in a relationship. You know.
So as for that, it's a no-no.
Yeah. So these are some of the things that would you have to do an assessment to determine to make the right decision.
Right. So what are the legal or reputational risks that can arise from some of these relationships?
Now, in getting into a relationship, you can easily stray into sexual harassment. And so the company needs to be careful, must have a policy to be able to avoid such scenarios happening. That's the legal side. Then there's also the reputational risk to the company.
Right.
You know, because if it comes out that, the company A or company B, a manager has, done this, it gives the company a bad name. And so from a legal and even a reputational point of view, you want to be careful about office romantic relationship.
Right. And how can businesses protect themselves from these potential harassment claims, Mr. Hagan?
It's about the policies and then strictly enforcing the policies. So once other employees realize that the company is very serious in dealing and handling with some of these cases, they are more careful. I think recently we had a classical case when an employee took the boss to the the court.
Yeah.
We all saw it in the media.
Yeah.
And what happened? Quickly, the company have to come out with some statements. Then have to let the manager also go, and then the employee also left, and the rest. So the company have to take action. So once actions are taken, then people know. As for saying people will not do it, that one, we are humans. It's difficult to say that nobody will do it. But when they know that action will be taken, it try to bring things under control. Yes.
Right. It's a little over 9:15, and this is Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM. This morning I'm talking to Mr. Hagan and Mr. Apia, who are HR professionals or practitioners, and they are talking to me about how to maintain professionalism at the workplace in line with workplace romance, what a lot of people call office romance. You can join the conversation on WhatsApp 0544321019. 0544321019. You can as well call us on 030-395-6641. 030-395-6641. You can drop a comment on our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and X at ZFMGH. At ZFMGH. Let me get back to you, Mr. Hagan. Is it possible for two colleagues or two professionals in a relationship to completely separate their personal lives from their work?
Well, it's difficult. That's the best that I can put it, because as Mr. Apia mentioned, in relationship, emotions are involved. But workplace, decisions are based on how do we call it, being rational. So when these two comes into place, it's very difficult. But in some cases, as I mentioned, research by Forbes says about 43% of some workplace relationship has also led to marriage, depending on where they are. Let's say an employee within a certain department, like let's say an admin in Accra, in a relationship with another employee in another branch in Tamale, that their work do not, how do you call it? The interdependencies are not there.
Direct, yeah.
Depending on the maturity of the two people, they can manage it. But the policy says it. What the policy says is, let the business be aware. If the business do their own assessment, they think that your relationship is not a threat to the business takes a decision on that.
Right.
But it can be possible, but very difficult and very tricky. Yeah.
Okay, let me come to Mr. Apia. Mr. Apia, yes. So the question I'm asking is that, is it possible for two professionals in a relationship to completely separate their personal lives from their work?
I think Hagan has said it all. It's difficult. It's difficult when you are in a romantic relationship. Your sense of judgment can easily be compromised. So it's difficult to manage it, but it's not impossible. But because it's difficult, companies have to have policies to manage those relationships.
I see. Now, what are some professional ways to handle a situation where two colleagues are beginning to develop some feelings for themselves? Apart from letting the company know, what are some other professional ways to handle it? Mr. Apia?
That's a tough one. You mean for the people involved?
Yes.
I would say that if they work in the same space, it's difficult. But like Hagan said, if they are, one is, let's say, in a different region or in like a bank in a different branch, it can be managed.
Right.
But so what I would say is that during working hours, they must limit contact as much as possible.
Okay.
You know, focus on your work during working hours and limit contact during working hours, unless it's an emergency.
Right. But you have mentioned that it is difficult. So how do they do that then?
So I mean, that's what I'm saying, that you have to be discipline yourself and say that, look, we are going to work. We know that. I mean, if you have mentioned it to HR, I'm sure HR will deal with it. But on your side, you also have to make sure that you limit as much contact as possible during working hours, so that it doesn't affect your judgment and your ability to work.
I see. Are there other ones, Mr. Hagan?
I think just Mr. Apia mentioned, it's about setting boundaries.
Right.
And knowing the space that you operate in. And it also depends on the work. In some places, your work even requires that you don't even have access to your phones. So your phone is kept away from you. It's only when you are on break or when you close, that is when you have access to your phone. So in that situation, then we can say that even the nature of the work is regulating how often that you can contact each other. But if not, and you have the liberty to use, it's about setting boundaries and knowing that work is work. And I think the personalities of the people who are involved also count. You know, there are some people, let me use the word in quote, they are clingy.
Right.
So every minute they want to know what is happening, and there are some people, when they talk to you in the morning, they are fine, unless in the evening time, that is also okay for them.
Yeah.
So the personality of the people involved also will determine how professional they can handle it or not.
Right. Now, what are some practical steps that organizations can take to discourage workplace relationships without stepping on the toes of employees, I mean, in terms of their personal lives?
At the workplace, work is first. Every business will put the interest of the company ahead of the interest of every employees. Good policies are needed, and the employees needs to be aware. I think in some cases also many employees are also not even aware of what is in the policy when it comes to a workplace relationship. So starting from the onboarding process, companies can really integrate it to people who are joining the business, help them to know what the policy clearly say and what is expected of them. That needs to be done. And then when such information also comes to the attention of the company, it shouldn't be handled in a dramatic way. I mean, yes, there are adults involved. So if you need to meet them confidentially, discuss the matter, go through their policies. If you need to transfer them, you do that. If one needs to resign, you put the option in front of the two of them that one of you should decide to resign. Then the two of them will take a decision. If they decide not to resign, then they have to make a decision to also end the relationship if they want to be at the workplace. So the company will handle it in a very professional way.
Well, what if they pretend to handle the relationship, to separate from each other?
If they pretend.
Yeah, so they came to tell you that they were in a relationship and now you're telling them one person must resign. What if they come and say, oh, we're broken up?
What shows you've broken up? You need to show what really shows that you have broken up. You need to, and as I said, the business have the ultimate decision in this area. If so, the business, they are not how do we call it, sure that indeed you have broken up, they will take a decision. So policies need to be very clear and state specific actions that needs to be taken at every step or every stage. So the policy will guide you.
Okay. Let me come to Mr. Pia. The same question to you. What are some practical steps that organizations can take to discourage workplace relationships?
So we'll still go back to the policy. The policy, and then make sure everybody, from the CEO to the very last person, is trained on the policy, that people know what the boundaries are. And then once people inform you that they are in a relationship, you manage it in accordance with policy.
Right. Okay, so we will take a short music break very soon. But before we take that short music, because we've been talking for a lot. I mean, we've given a lot of information yes, and there's information overload. So we'll take a short music break. When we return, then we talk some more. But before we go, what advice would you give to somebody who is considering entering a relationship with a coworker, Mr. Hagan?
The options are there, and it is theirs to take. I mean, one, if it gets to the attention of the HR, are they ready and willing to leave the business and then get alternative business? If the policy says if two are in a relationship, one should leave, you need to think through it, because those are some of the consequences. It can lead to you, how do we call it, losing your job. And then also relationships can go bad at any point in time. So they should know that proximity. You are in the same environment with the person. If it goes bad, even meeting the person, the way even you yourself, your heart beats, it will affect you psychologically and the rest. Are you ready to handle all those things, be in a close relationship with someone and the relationship goes bad, seeing the person every day, when you are climbing the stairs, you are going, I mean, it's an uncomfortable situation. So people need to think through before making decisions.
Okay. Now let me come to Mr. Apia. Mr. Apia, do you have some advice for somebody that is contemplating a relationship with a colleague?
Yes, the person should get to know what their company policy says about that,
right?
And then be informed accordingly.
Okay.
Because it will impact on their work, and are they prepared for that? So they need to be prepared for this before they enter into that kind of relationship.
Right. Okay. So we'll take a short music break, and then when we return, we go into some other matters still in line with how to maintain, how to maintain professionalism at the workplace, in line with workplace romance. This is still Business Breakfast on Zed 101.9 FM with me, Nietzsche B. Hammond. We'll be right back.
shoot my shot, yo, Joro. So, Joro, baby, take my number. Take my number. You know you can call me later. Call me later. Yeah, I want to be your lover. Be your lover. Oh, baby, call me later. Call me later. Well, happy possible. Talk to your friend, oh. Joro me, baby, oh. Joro me, Joro. Shebi walo sọ fún mi. You talk say you like me. Ah, I be rolling pagon. Kilo de Joro. I dey give you signal. Joro me. She you know they see me. Joro me. I give you green light, fire. Joro me, Joro. I'm a killer babu, oh. Joro me. Come a lot from boo, oh. Joro me. I go shoot my shot, yo, Joro. So Joro, baby, take my number. Take my number. You know you can call me later. Call me later. Me, I want to be your lover. Be your lover. Oh, baby, call me later. Call me later.
It's your lifestyle, leisure, and business radio.
Oh, baby, no big crime. Let person love you, I love you, baby, yes, I love you, baby, oh, baby, tell me why, you dey take your time, just call me, baby, mine, you're a baby, take my number, oh, take my number, maybe you can call me later, call me later, me, I want to be your lover, be your lover, oh, baby, come.
On how to maintain professionalism at the workplace, in line with office romance or workplace romance. And I am speaking to two gentlemen who are giving us a lot of value this morning. Mr. Hagan, who is in studio with me, and then Mr. Apia, who is over the phone lines. Cumulatively, we can say that they have like 45 years of experience. Mr. Hagan has 15 years experience in HR consulting and in the space really. And also Mr. Apia has over 30 years of experience. You can join the conversation this morning on our WhatsApp platform 0544 321019 0544 321019. You can as well call us on 030 39 56641 030 39 56641, or you can drop a comment on our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and X. We are at ZFMGH, and also we are live on YouTube. So just in case you want to watch on YouTube, we are live there. You can join the conversation. Well, let's get into it now. I want us to talk to managers. Now, what's the best way for a manager to address gossip or speculation about an office romance on their team? Mr. Hagan.
Comes to managers' attention, then they need to investigate and find out whether that is true. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not true, because many times when people see two people who are together 1, 2, 3 times, then they draw conclusion that they are in a relationship. So you don't go by hearsay. You have to let those who report to you come up with prove it, come up with evidence and the rest. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Pia, same thoughts?
Sorry, the question again?
Now, I'm asking that what's the best way for a manager to address gossip or speculation about an office romance on their team?
Okay, I'll go with what Hagan said. I think you just need to verify the information. You know, there's a lot of, sometimes if you just rely on gossip, you can get a lot of things wrong. So verify the information and to be sure that what you are hearing is true. I mean, you can call the people and ask them, this is what I'm hearing.
Right.
You know, and let them either confirm or deny.
Now, but some argue that office romances can strengthen teamwork and also create a positive work environment. Do you think there's any truth to that?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you.
I wouldn't agree to that, because office romance is very, it's littered with a lot of landmines. So to say that it helps with teamwork, I beg to differ on that one. Like I said earlier on, one is dealing with emotions, and in teamwork you are using a lot of rationality to make decisions and to make things work. So it's difficult to combine the two.
Right. Mr. Pia, do you share the same thoughts? Sorry, Mr. Hagan, do you share the same thoughts?
Yes, I think I agree with what Mr. Apia said. I mean, let's say even the temporary benefits that will come from it, if you compare it to the long-term effects, it's not worth it, because in the long run, if I should borrow Mr. Apia's language, he says it's littered with a lot of landmines. It can explode or detonate anytime. Yeah.
Right. Now, what should an employee do if they feel pressured into a relationship at the workplace?
So the first thing that the employees needs to do, usually that's about sexual harassment.
Right.
Companies also have clear policies dealing with sexual harassment. So the first point of contact will be to report it to HR. In this case, HR also needs to be trained, because issues of sexual harassment are very delicate. You are getting into legalities and the rest. So when the attention of HR is brought to it, if there's a company lawyer, which happened to me some time ago, you need to talk to the company lawyer for direction or advice on how to handle it. But in all this, confidentiality is very, 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 very key for HR when some of this information come to our attention.
So now you have been in a space for a while. I want to ask, if you got to know that two co-workers are in a relationship but keeping it a secret, do you advise that a fellow co-worker who's not in a relationship should go and report?
Okay, so the first question, how did I get to know that they are in a relationship?
So maybe because of the way they are relating with themselves, you think that these people are in a relationship, and you care so much about the company. You think that this will affect our work that we are doing here. Do you think the other workers should blow the whistle?
No, if I am a manager, then I have a responsibility to find out from them. Yes. So either for them to deny or say that it is true.
No, but
if they deny, and I have, evidence to suggest that something is going on, then HR will have to be aware, and the necessary steps will be taken.
Right.
Yeah.
But what if you are all colleagues?
Okay.
Yeah, no, you are not a manager.
Okay.
You are all colleagues.
Okay.
And then I'm asking because somebody might be listening to us right now, who knows about a relationship in the office, cares about the company, and knows that this is going to affect the company. What do you think that person should do? Should they go and report to management?
They can, but they should also make sure they have their facts right. Yeah.
They can.
Yes.
So we're not saying they should report.
No. Okay. So they should report it. Yeah, because the policies are there. So the policy should be clear on all these things. If you get to know a colleague who are in a relationship, and then let's say you are even close to them, you've encouraged them to report, they are not doing that. What should you do? Policies should clearly state all those things, that go and report, and then action will be taken.
Okay, so let's imagine a hypothetical situation. Let's imagine a scenario where two co-workers are dating, all right, and one accuses the other of harassment after a breakup. How should HR handle the situation? And I'll go to Mr. Apia, then I'll come to you. Mr. Apia?
Yes.
Yes. How should HR handle such a situation?
Okay. So I think what Hagan was saying, that you see, when you're in a relationship and you don't report it, and you have such a scenario, then you are exposed big time. Because from your question, my assumption is that the initial part of the relationship was mutual. And now that it's broken, that the other person is alleging sexual harassment. But because this was on the blind side of the company, it will be treated as if it's sexual harassment.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'll say to them.
Mr. Egan.
Yeah. So I remember handling a similar case like that. An employee and the boss reported the employee for disciplinary issues. So now when we sat down to investigate the disciplinary issue, then the employee came out to say that, no, my boss is reporting this thing to me because we were in a relationship some time ago, and then the relationship has broken down, and that is why he wants to get me out of the company. That is why he's bringing these accusations against me.
So how did you handle that?
Well, as I said, issues of sexual harassment, you need to, if you have a company lawyer, first get back to the company lawyer. So we spoke to the company lawyers. They gave us advice every step of the way on how to handle it. But again, you, the employee, you have to also prove all the allegations that you are making against your boss. So we won't take it on face value just because you are the one alleging that your boss has been sexually harassing you, and then that's why he's bringing these charges against you.
All right. So how can leaders and managers set an example in maintaining professional boundaries in the workplace?
Okay. So companies have values, and most of the, about 80 or 90% of the companies that I've seen, part of their values have to do with professionalism. So for leaders within the company, they have to live the values of the company, make sure they draw clear boundaries between that. And as Mr. Apia mentioned, for a manager, it's a no-no situation because that one, the issues are even much more telling on the company than even employees. So setting clear boundaries and being professional is very, very key here.
Right. In your opinion, should companies have stricter policies about relationship between employees at different levels of seniority?
I think the policies are there. It maybe have to do with the enforcement. Because if we say stricter, I don't know what the policy is going to add to make it more strict, because it's clear that if you're a manager, that one you don't have to even be in a relationship. But in the case that a manager could be single, I may have seen an employee who is also a single, and well and truly, I really love that employee, and if things go well, I can marry that employee. The policies are there, so you can resign and then continue a relationship with the person.
So maybe because we've spoken about policy, what does a policy really entails? Is it just about getting one person to leave the company, or what?
That is one leg of it.
Okay.
The other leg will have to do with the company doing an assessment to see whether the work that the two of you are doing, it will not have impacts on the company. If you are in the same department, definitely it will. We look at your role. I gave an example earlier on, an auditor, and then let's say the finance person, or maybe a senior person in finance. These two can come together, and they can cause the company a lot of harm. So the business will look at this, as opposed to an employee in a branch in Accra with another employee in Tamale, who their work, it doesn't even interdepend on each other. So the dynamics are there. All these are spelled out. The company makes a decision on them.
Right. Mr. Apia?
Yeah.
Do you share the same sentiments?
Absolutely.
Right. I'm asking, now, apart from what is mentioned in line with the policies that are already there, are there some other policies that you have come across?
In terms of the office woman?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, essentially the same policies that would determine how to deal with those issues when they come up. And the kind of boundaries and risk assessment of, if you become aware of any relationship, how does it impact on the business and all that.
And what are the punishments? I want us to break these ones down very well, because it is important to let our people know the punishments that are associated with that. Now, in a business brief earlier today, the business brief is a segment where I share something on the topic we'll be discussing before we have the discussion. And I mentioned the CEO of president of CNN who was sacked. I mentioned some other people and all of that. And so I want us to go through some of the punishments that are there for workers that are in a relationship.
You want me to go?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it can range from the ultimate determination, and as we indicated earlier, if the company becomes aware, they will take some mitigation measures, i.e., maybe transfer one person out of, if the two of them are in the same department, transfer one person out of that department. So those are the mitigation measures. But if, for example, if it's a manager dating a subordinate, that one is a no-no. And so you can be sanctioned, you can be asked to resign or you can be terminated.
That's all. Mr. Hagan, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I'm just thinking through in situations where maybe a company can say that because of your relationship with this staff, it has caused the company a loss, so we are taking legal action against you for causing this loss to the company because of your relationship. Well, I haven't heard that in Ghana before. I'm yet to maybe see if a company test the law on that.
Really?
And see.
Does it mean that we are not really serious about it?
Oh, we are, but it depends on how every company wants to handle situations like that.
And in your company, how do you handle that?
Well, in my company, the policies are there. So if you want to be in a relationship with a company, those are the standard practices. You either let management be aware. If one of you need to resign, you resign. if the best interest of the company, we have to let you go, we will let you go, then you continue your relationship with the person.
Okay, right. And I want us to stay here a bit. Let's talk about whether really, and I want you to be very vivid about this particular conversation, because I know that there are companies in Ghana that allow workplace romance. They don't have policies against it. And so a friend of mine once told me that, in my office it is normal. It is normal to have a relationship with somebody who's a colleague, right? And then so he had seen somebody that he wanted to get into a relationship. And I'm like, Charlie, doesn't your office talk about stuff like that? He said, no, it's allowed. He knows people in the office who are in relationships and all of that, and it doesn't affect the work in any way. Do you think, I want us to break this down very well, be vivid on this. Do you think that workplace romance should be avoided or it should be encouraged? I want you to take your time and make this.
How do we call it? The downside of it outweighs the importance of it. So, one, for your colleague who is saying that it is allowed at their place, I think first of all you should ask him to get you their policy, the HR policy, whether it's stated in the policy that it can be allowed. I'm not sure that one is included in the company's policy. Maybe he is not aware, but the fact that people are doing it, the commonality of it does not mean that how do we call it? It is allowed. Maybe where I will understand him is that no action is being taken in the company. That is why, because of that practice, that culture has developed, and he thinks the company allows it. I'm not sure it's in the policy that you can go ahead and have it. So look at the advantages and the disadvantages. The disadvantages outweighs the advantages. So for a company, their interest is profitability. So your relationship, how is it bringing the profit to us? In terms of our brand image, how is it improving our brand image? In no way does it. It has even the potential of denting the image of the company in the public. And we have a case in Ghana like that, which was recently in the court and in the news. And you saw the image, the dented image of that bank that it brought.
So do you think it should be discouraged?
No, it should not be encouraged.
It should not be encouraged.
No.
Mr. Apia? Mr. Apia? Hello? Hello? Okay. So your advice to people is that, your advice to companies, organizations, never allow it.
No.
But you are the same person that was telling us a while ago that it has led to marriages and all of that, and people are excited about it. How do we reconcile that?
You see, you are dealing with humans who also, some say humans they are rational humans and emotional humans as well. The fact that we are dealing with humans, the practicality of it is that the company will not allow it, but yet you still have people who are doing that. So in my assessment, that Forbes record shows 43% of workplace romance has led to marriages. It doesn't mean that the company should, encourage it. The policy is also not saying that do not be in a relationship. We should get it clear. They are saying that if you want to be in a relationship with a colleague at work, let the business know. Then we will do our risk assessment. If it's going to affect the company, then in that case, the company's interest will have to be put ahead of your emotional interest. If the company, after doing the assessment, they think that it's not going to impact or affect it, then the company will also allow the two of you to go ahead. So it depends on the decision that the company makes, and then the impact that your relationship is going to have on the company. But the truth is, many people will not tell the company. Many people will hide it from the company. So the company is not given the opportunity to be able to do their risk assessment, put in mitigation factors, in that case affecting the company in one way or the other. So that is why the company should not encourage it.
Should not encourage it. It's been a great conversation. Yes, and I'm really grateful that you came. Tell us about Schedule Consult before we go.
Well, thank you very much. So Schedule Consult is an HR consultancy firm based in Ghana. Our core work is to support businesses develop the human capital of their employees. So we support companies in terms of performance management, in terms of developing training programs for them, and also in terms of implementing training programs and providing support to make sure that their employees are well capable of doing their work. Now, over the years, we've had the opportunity to work with several companies in Ghana, Cameroon, Uganda, and Zambia. So in terms of our operation, we've taken an international look of the way that we do business. So if you are listening and you have any training needs for your company, any support for your team in terms of embedding even the culture of performance management in your business, talk to Schedule Consult. We are available to support you.
How can they get in touch?
Well, Schedule Consults are lines 020-256-1153. And then we are also on Facebook.
Repeat the number.
020-256-1153.
Okay.
We are also on Facebook, Schedule Consult. We are on Instagram. And our email address is info@scheduleconsult.com.
Right. So, Mr. Higan,
yes.
Thank you very much for coming this morning for us to have this conversation.
Thank you too.
I believe that listeners have gotten some value because you shared a lot of things and told us all the negative aspects of workplace romance, even though you alluded to the fact that it has led to marriages and all of that. And I think that is enough value for us to be guided as to whether we should venture into relations. But something that you said that is very profound is that look at the impact that it has on yourself and then on the business. And I think that is very great. We are grateful that you came this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, folks, that's how we wrap up today's conversation. I'm going to give you a song, and then that's how I'm going to end this conversation this morning. Take a listen.